Ladies and gentlemen, how we doing? Bit early today, aren't I? Yeah, look, what's the point? What's the point of me coming in early? 45 of you fucking losers in the chat when I come early. At least you can have a shout out. Husky, hello, Jeff Wedden, Kate, thank you for moderating. Mr. Straight Al's in. Hope you're doing all right now. Robert Ewan, the Mancunian Pepper, Professor Andy, Matt Oliver, Sadwings is in. Davey Mitchell, Alan Lloyd, Two-Tone, Bill Beebe, Stevie Ray, Dave Lampard, Dave Mitchell, Balls and all. Ian McMahon, Derek Now Then, Chris Collin, Ragnar's in. That's about it, isn't it? Sean Sim, Rebel Frog, Blue Van Man's in. All right, see, Blue Van Man never misses an episode. That's because he's switched on. Nick Yak, how you doing? Two-Tone, Phil Hewitt, Charm Superior, Luke Hall, and Ginger Mongouse, upstanding member. Lee Brown, Zelensky's green T-shirt is still well ignored. It's still well ironed. He's doing well in the middle of the war. Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy things going on. Anyway, welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It is the 20th of April, 2022. Now, due to popular demand, I'm covering this. You've all moaned about it for days, weeks, in fact. But I could never find it on the BBC. So, normally when I sit in front of my computer and just click on like news, bbcnews.co.uk, I just look for interesting stories, usually based around the religion of pieces or LGBTQ plus IA. Those two things are always good for a chuckle. However, this time I actually went in search of the story after obviously everybody told me about Sligo killings. And I'll tell you what, it seems like it was tucked away. I had to Google it. For some reason, it looks like it's... Is it like Latin America and the Middle East, this story? I don't know where they've tucked it away. Maybe... Oh, no, it is in the Europe section. But I had to Google it. It wasn't an easy story to find. Why would the BBC not want to tell us about it? It's funny, isn't it? When it's an issue of something important, not something trivial like getting your fucking crust lopped off by a lunatic with a meat cleaver. No, important things like a homosexual Welshman making a play about wearing his grandma's clothes. Stuff like that they put on the homepage. It's front and centre. So the second you put the website on, it's there. Bam! How good's cock? Yeah! We should all be into cock. Right? But when you want to find out about things like brutal murder, pedos, kiddie fiddlers, the fucking works, the most depraved, bestial creatures on planet Earth who are a threat to you, your wife, and your children, took that one away. And here, read this story about microaggressions, the innate sexism of the office thermostat. This is what people want to know. They don't want to tell you that there's a fucking bloke with a criminal record as long as the elephant man's cock who's just moved in next door to you in your council estate. They don't want to tell you about that. Nah, bloke on the sexist offenders register who's just moved in across the street. We'll just tuck that away somewhere and we'll talk about microaggressions. Did you know telling someone you speak excellent English basically makes you a kiddie fucker? Yeah, on the rankings, yeah, there's like Gary Glitter, Jimmy Savile, bloke who tells someone their English is good. Apparently. I mean, I thought that was a compliment, but nah, it's a microaggression. I read it on the BBC, so it must be true. If you say to somebody who's foreign, you've got excellent grasp of English, that's a microaggression, that. You're basically saying, I fucking hate foreigners. I hate them. That's what, you horrible bastard. What did you say that for? What did you say that for, eh? You should feel ashamed of yourself. Get in that cell with Ian Huntley, yeah, and at least he'll get a Christmas card from some mentally deranged admirer. But you won't, Mr. Microaggression. So let's just go through this fucking news story before I go off on another 27-minute tangent. I mean, I didn't even get to do the news yesterday, did I? It was just 40 minutes of fucking kicking off. Yeah. Again, I don't make any of this stuff up. I read it while I'm trolling the BBC. So apparently, yeah, you're better to say. Apparently, it's more polite to say your English is fucking shit. True story. This did happen to me out here when I first moved to the United States. Long-term viewers will have heard it. My wife always says I complains that I repeat myself a lot. Because when you've got thousands of dits in your head, the best ones sort of spring to the fore, and I'm constantly repeating myself. So long-time viewers will have heard it. But when I first started working out here, there was a bloke at my company who was from El Salvador, and he said to me, "Where you from, man?" Like, he could speak good English. I think he'd been living in the US since he was about 10. Oh, just committed a microaggression. Sorry, his English was fucking awful. He could speak good English, and he said to me, "Where you from, man?" And I said, "I'm from Britain." And he said, "Britain? Where's that?" And I said, "You've never heard of Great Britain? United Kingdom? No?" And he went, "In Europe? Is it in Europe?" And I said, "Yeah, it's in fucking Europe. A little island just off the continent." And he went, "How long have you been in America?" And I said, "Oh, like 3 months." And he goes, "Shit, man, you learn English fast, bro." And I was like, yeah. I shit you not, that happened. So people in El Salvador, not the best at geography. However, I won't tell him his English was good. Remember, don't tell people their English is good. It's very offensive. In fact, when he said that to me, I was offended. Yeah, because I was deeply offended that the native gentleman said to me, "You speak good English." Right. So let's do this fucking story. Sligo killings. We can all guess where this is going to go, can't we? Tell me, why is it the Irish have suddenly developed a penchant for decapitation? That's weird, isn't it? I mean, never been a thing, really, as far as I'm aware in Ireland. Even the IRA, they were particularly vicious killers due to the indoctrination of their religious ideology. It is a quasi-religious ideology, isn't it? It's a strange set of affairs whereby the plantation of Ulster in 1609 caused people to have such vehement hatred for people of an opposing political viewpoint. So it's a quasi-religious ideology. But even they never used to ritually decapitate people. I remember reading about Captain Nyrak when he got abducted and murdered. There was some quite grisly torture involved, but ultimately they just killed him and fucking buried him. At no point did anybody take out a small blunt knife and slowly hack his head off, which is what they always use. I remember watching the Ken Bigley video when I was in Baghdad. I was in Baghdad at the time, and I used to always watch them. Whenever anyone said, like, one of the Int guys was like, "Oh, you've seen the Biggers video?" And I'd be like, "I want to see it." I used to like watching it because it was like, like the water boy, when he uses all of his insults as tackling fuel. I used to like watching all of the most grisly videos because it was tackling fuel. It used to fill me with furious anger and contempt for the enemy. And it ensured that I always was happy to be deployed. I was never like raring to get home because I used to watch them videos and my blood used to get up. And that poor bastard proper got his head lopped off with like a fucking potato peeler. Like when I heard that they chopped his head off, I assumed it was going to be like, young and naive. And that was probably the first of many. Nick Berg, I believe, was the first decapitation video. I assumed it was going to be like he'd be there and some bloke has like a samurai sword or something. Do you know what I mean? Like a massive fucking sword or a meat cleaver. And he was just like, fuck off. And it'd be quite easy. But Biggers, fucking hell, that was hard going, that. They were like trying to do it with a fucking tatty peeler. You've never seen anything like it. Don't Google it. You don't want to watch it. Did I say with Andy Cool? I don't know the name, Richard. Not off the top of my head. You're not a relation to Luke Goss, are you? I remember when we were recruits, they took us to see Luke Goss's... was it Luke Goss? I think it was. Or am I thinking of the cunt out of Bros? Was that Luke Goss? Who was the one who sailed a catamaran or tried to break a record with a catamaran? He was an ex-bootneck. Definitely Goss. I just might be getting him you mixed up with the Bros brothers. Yeah, I don't know the name, Andy Cole, no. Anyway, Biggers there. He died hard. He was a fucking potato peel. It was horrendous. And those things used to make me furious. So that's why I used to watch them. Always used to fill me with righteous anger. Right, back to the story. The Irish never used to decapitate people. Is the long form, is the short form version of what I'm trying to say, which instantly tells you something is afoot. As Sherlock would say, the game is afoot. Let's read the story, shall we? There's the poor bastards. Michael Snee and Aidan Moffat were found dead in their homes in Sligo. Personal messages from the Bishop of Elphin were read out to mourners as two men killed in Sligo were laid to rest. Michael Snee was found dead at his home in Connaughton Road in the town on Tuesday. The day after, Aidan Moffat's body was found at his Carton Heights home. This fucker has appeared in court charged with their murders. I don't want to say his name, because if you say his name, it's like the fucking Candyman. If you say his name, if you say a foreign-sounding name 3 times, YouTube Susan teleports in behind you like a big, scary black man with a hook for a hand. That's what happened. So I can't say his name. You know what'll happen? She'll teleport in behind me. The raddled spunk Bowser herself will instantly appear behind me, and I'll shit my pants. So let's just let's do what I always do and replace it with something else. We'll just call him. Actually, how hard's that? Is there any Christian anglicised names that start with a Y? I can't think of any. Anybody got any? That's an hard one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm racking my brain. I'll do a quick Google. Christian names start with Y. See what we get. Fucking Yahweh. Yahweh. Jacob. That's Jacob. Yehu. Yeshua. Wasn't that Jesus? Joab. Oh, yeah, that's Joab. Yeah, there's definitely none. Well, we'll have to go with a Yahweh. It was all Yahweh's fault. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because considering Obama said that when ISIS chop people's heads off, it's all Christianity's fault. It's got nothing at all to do with the Bell End churches. It's got more to do with Christianity, and they're actually called ISIS. Basically, Jesus' fault. That. So yeah, we'll blame it on Yahweh. Yahweh did this, and he appeared in court charged with their murders. The funerals of Mr. Moffat and 58-year-old Mr. Snee were held on Monday afternoon. Mr. Moffat's funeral took place in the village of Liscool in his home county of Roscommon, while Mr. Snee's was held in Ballytivnan in Sligo. One was a businessman and a Fine Gael party activist. Mr. Snee worked as a care assistant. Mr. Moffat was interested in politics, and then I guess they're just eulogising them and not talking about the story. Yeah, he worked with people with intellectual disabilities. Nice fellas. That kind of work required gentleness and patience. I'm sure he was a nice fella. Sensitive, pleasant chap. So that's just, so there's trying to slip you a Mickey. They don't want to tell you about him, do they? Let's see if we can find more about who fucking did it. Man charged with Sligo murders. I see they don't want to name him though, do they? Not in the headline. Oh, there he is. There he is. There's that pasty ginger bastard. See, this is what happens when you have unbridled immigration from Scotland. You get these lads coming over. Yeah, these pasty ginger bastards. I better not leave him on the screen too long. We'll all get in trouble. Because we are the underclass now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a ruling class who doesn't really look like me, and I'm not allowed to criticise them. So let's just pretend we didn't see that. We didn't see that. It was a pasty ginnock. Yahweh, whose address was given as Markovich Heights, Sligo, was accused of murdering them. He also attacked a third man on the 9th of April. Sounds like a pleasant fellow. Still, he's obviously from 20 generations of Irish, so the Irish people really need to gaze inside themselves and ask themselves why. Why are the Irish so full of contempt and hatred for the gay community? Why? Why the Irish? Even though, if memory serves, weren't the Irish the first people in the developed world to have a vote on the gay marriage question, and the Irish unanimously welcomed the idea? Isn't that right? Weird, isn't it? It's fucking mad. You know, it's so hard to navigate the politics of the modern world because it makes no sense, does it? Why would the nation that voted the earliest to have gay marriage, why would the Irish be so barbaric and savage towards homosexuals? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? It's almost like it's got fuck all to do with the Irish, isn't it? Weird that. Let's keep on reading. Maybe we can shed some light upon this enduring mystery. Both men had significant injuries. Significant. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, when you get your fucking head lopped off, I'd say that was a pretty significant injury, wouldn't you? Probably don't want to mention it, do they? Because they know that the fucking general public will put two and two together. Significant injuries. No shit, Sherlock. If I came home from work and someone had lopped my missus's fucking nut off and put it on a spike outside the house, I don't think I'd ring the police and go, yeah, excuse me, lads. I just came home and my wife's got some pretty significant injuries. Oh, yes, Mr. Taylor, tell us. Fucking head lopped off. That's what you say. Fuck me, I've found a head. Imagine that. It'd read better as well, wouldn't it? The Garda said, fucking hell, we found a heed. That's not how the Irish say. I was thinking Geordie there. The Garda said, fuck me backwards, we found a fucking head. Some cunt's crust was left outside his house. Relatives of the two murder victims and the man who was assaulted sat in the courtroom for the hearing. Fucking Yahweh was remanded in custody. The court was told he made no reply to the assault charge and understood the two murder charges were now put against him. Be given an urgent psychiatric assessment. Fuck me. Well, I think we can say that to almost anybody who's a very, very devoted, regular at Alan's fucking snack bar. Again, I'm not having a pop at your average religious person. I'm saying the people that take all this shit literally. If you do that with the Bible, I think you need your head read. Take it literally. These stories are ancient. They're ancient. They were written back when we thought the world was fucking flat. So a sensible, reasonable look at Christianity or Judaism or the other one we're not allowed to talk about would be that, you know what you need to do? You need to grasp the realities of 2022 and encourage and empower the moderates to gently talk people in to turning the backs on scriptural literalism. And I don't think, again, maybe who knows, Susan might slam me down for saying it. My gentle coaxing for people not to be dogmatic scriptural literalists, because it will only lead to fucking misery. All of those books have shit in them about murder because they were written over 1,000 years ago. Why is it controversial to tell people, you know what, we shouldn't really be doing the whole scriptural literalism anymore? And this is why, of the three, one is more problematic than the other two, right? Again, I have to be circumspect, lads. You know the crack. It's not in any way intolerant or incorrect to say that of the big three, one of them is worse than the other two, is it? Because the other two have already had a reformation of a kind. Israel is one of the most secular nations on earth. Almost nobody who describes themselves as a Christian is a scriptural literalist. The vast majority of Christians take the wisdom. Again, you know me, I'm not a chippy atheist anymore. I agree with Sadwins there. There is still wisdom in the book. There is great wisdom to be found in all three holy books because it's wisdom that's been passed down for generations. There is wisdom in there. But you don't take it literally. You take the wisdom where you find it. It's not controversial to say that because almost nobody is a fucking Christian literalist anymore. There's shit in there about like not eating seafood and not having tattoos and not fucking cloven hooves and all that bollocks. Nobody does it, but there is one group that still do the whole. Every single letter in that book is the 100% word of God because it was dictated verbatim over a period of 13 years or whatever. Again, I haven't read the big Q for many years. I read it in Afghanistan. And that's when I got interested in listening to the mullahs on YouTube and trying to learn more about it. But basically, they believe that every single letter is verbatim the word of God. That's why the biggest scholars of the religion of peace can actually quote it all verbatim. You ask them for a fucking passage and they'll quote you it because they're celebrated. That's why they think it hasn't been changed like the Bible and the Torah was, because there's so many people have been memorizing it, so they would know if somebody had changed it all. So that's why it's to a higher percentage of them scriptural literalists, and being a scriptural literalist in 2022 will lead you into fucking mayhem. And I don't see why it's controversial to say that. Weird, isn't it? Again, if you say it to Christians, they'll take it on the chin. Madonna was taking the piss out of Christianity in the fucking 80s, and nobody had to die. Nobody had to die. But as soon as some Danish cartoonist draws something they don't like, or takes the piss out of the epileptic midget, chaos reigns supreme, and everybody sits here going, oh, yeah, we have to be more tolerant. We don't have to be more tolerant. They have to be more fucking tolerant. It's lunacy, the world we're living in. Telling me I have to be more tolerant. I am tolerant. I don't agree with all sorts of things. I don't like sucking blokes' cocks, but I've got nothing against gay people. I don't believe in the mad mental midget more, but I'm tolerant of the people that do, as long as they don't take it literally and think it's a good idea to lop a gay man's fucking nut off. I'm fucking brimming with tolerance. I'm absolutely toppers with tolerance. Tolerance bootneck, they should call me. There's all types of shit I don't agree with and don't like, and I tolerate it. There's loads of shit I don't like. English men wearing baseball caps, I don't like that. Fucking tolerate it. Chewing gum, don't like that. Chewing tobacco fucking appalls me. My mate Vads chews all the time. Go for a drink with him, he's spitting in a fucking jar. I'm putting it on the table. I remember going for breakfast with him and he's got a Coke bottle full of fucking gauze on the table, 2 foot away from my plate. And I'm like, you dirty bastard, put it under the fucking table. I don't want to sit near it. I tolerate everything. I tolerate gays and lesbians and people that don't drink and people that don't like dogs and chewing tobacco and baseball caps. There's all sorts of shit I don't fucking like. All tolerance means is you don't do anything about it. When you see something you don't like, that's basically all tolerance is. You don't have to be a fucking advocate of it. That's where the world's gone mad, and we've started saying, oh, we have to be more tolerant. The Europeans are fucking too tolerant. We're tolerant to the point where it's pathological altruism. We are ridiculously tolerant. I'm a straight married man, but I've never once had a pop with someone for being gay. I'm an agnostic / atheist. I've never once had a pop with anybody for breaking out the prayer rug. That's tolerance. And guess what? When somebody draws a cartoon that you don't like, tolerance is allowing the cartoon to exist, not marching into the fucking offices in the middle of Paris with an AK-47 and filling the cartoonist full of fucking holes. That's called not being tolerant. So this, in the crazy world we're living in, you're not tolerant. If you even say, I'm not a big fan of that, which by the definition is tolerant, because you're not doing anything about it. You're just quietly saying, I don't like it. You know what I mean? If you're against gay marriage, but you see 2 gay blokes yogurt potting in the middle of the fucking street, yogurt potting is trying to lick the bottom of a yogurt pot. If they're proper going for it in the middle of the street and you simply shake your head and walk off, that is tolerance. Saying in the privacy of your own home, it's a bit fucking filthy that, but not doing anything about it, that is tolerance. Everybody has the right to their own opinions. I've said this loads of times. My dad's a bit homophobic because he's in his fucking late 60s, but he's tolerant. He doesn't like it, and he's got no interest in it, but he doesn't do anything about it. He's not interested in stripping these people of their rights. That is tolerance. We're all tolerant as fuck. Everybody in this chat is as tolerant as fuck because we tolerate things we don't like and we don't do anything about it. Those barmy cunts fill a load of cartoonists full of fucking lead, and when I say, Jesus Christ, that's a bit much, we need to do something about these barmy cunts, to go, fucking hell, that's intolerant. That's intolerant, you prick. We are tolerant. If you're not getting violent and aggressive, you're being tolerant. So everybody in Europe's being very fucking tolerant, and the people that are stabbing kids in the face, grooming little girls, chopping people's fucking heads off, or shooting and threatening people because they draw cartoons they don't like, aren't being very tolerant. I mean, is this rocket science for anybody listening? Susan, you fucking spunk Bowser, I'm tolerant of you as well. You have the right to have a fucking head like a plasterer's radio. You have a right to be a boss-eyed fucking lunatic. You have that right. I support your right to be a horrible, horrible slut bucket in public. And I won't do anything about it other than disagree with you vociferously. That's being tolerant. Right? Easy. We're being tolerant. The bloke with the fucking meat cleaver isn't being tolerant. So maybe go and have a pop at the people that are actually being intolerant, right? Fuck me. So more on this story. Nobody wants to talk about it. It seems when you read alternative media, they are willing to discuss what happened here. But I've just done 3 fucking brutal killings, gnome, murder, epic proportion, nice guy, pleasant, fucking la-di-da. Listen. We were not going to find it because it's the BBC. A bloke from an intolerant religious fucking group, devout. Again, I always have to put that in because I know plenty of blokes whose parents happen to hail from a foreign country, and as a result, they get broad brush tied in and called, you're one of the practitioners. They aren't, and they don't go to Alan's fucking snack bar. They just happen to have parents who were born in a country where that religion is very, very popular. It's not people that happen to have an M when when they're filling in a census form, and it says religion, and they write an M at the start of it. I'm not saying all of them are bad. But the very, very devout ones really are a fucking problem because they're taking that shit literally. And that's the problem. Most fucking people, like I said, they'll drink pints and they don't even go bastard. They don't even go to the Bell End Church anymore. I haven't got a problem with these people. But the fucking scriptural literalists need fucking dragging over the coals and condemning aggressively for their actions. And that's what happened here. That's what happened here. No, the BBC hasn't mentioned it once. You go through 3 fucking stories there, and the most you can get is the bloke's name. No mention at all of the I word or the M word. Not one. When a massive percentage of them have got no time at all for the gay community because of the shit it says in the book they really, really, really like. Right? If Jesus went around saying, all right, guys, fuck kids, we'd have a problem with it, wouldn't we? Yeah, we'd have a problem with it. In fact, let me find a story on that because I always go back to the ones I remember reading. They've hidden it, the bastards. Let me have a look. This is a good one. For those of you that haven't seen it, here we are. It's from 2009. I remember it. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. More than 12 years old. Zero tolerance of homosexuality, says Paul. This is the crux of the issue, ladies and gentlemen. They have zero tolerance. The Gallup poll, in which they asked, I believe it was 500. None of the 500 regulars at Allen's believed that homosexual acts were morally acceptable. Zero out of 500. Not a fucking big number. Right? So this is the issue. This isn't just a serial killer who just did a random murder on a whim. This appears to be a religiously motivated hate crime carried out against the gay community. And nobody wants to talk about it. The BBC won't talk about it. The Guardian won't talk about it. The fuck Channel 4 and Sky News, nobody wants to talk about it. Yeah, well, see, that's the funny bit, isn't it? That's the funny bit, Kate, because when I was out in Afghanistan, let me tell you, there was one night when the blokes were all laughing and the sentries had the NVGs out and they were like, look what's going on over there. Look through the NVGs. The Terp is bumming his boyfriend in the in the Afghan National Police. It's a mad fucking situation because the religion forbids it. Even the practicing homosexuals hide it from everybody. It's a really mad situation. Like when the Iranian, does anybody remember when the Iranian president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said there are no gay people in Iran? Do you remember that? Let's Google that. That's funny. Yeah, there we go. None. Fucking zero. Yeah, cheers then. Cheers, mate. So that's mad, isn't it? It's like loads of them. They'll rant and rave about it. So it's against the teachings of the big man upstairs. And then he's fucking hanging out the back of his boyfriend 10 minutes later. Or back Jabazi in Afghanistan where they're all bumming the fucking 8-year-olds. Like, it's a fucking bad situation. But anyways, let's not go on that slippery slope. All I was trying to get a point across with this was, despite the fact the BBC has made absolutely no mention of it, not once, the I word and the M word and everybody's favourite legendary snack bar are involved. And we need to have that discussion. Again, I'm not asking for reactionary politics, but we have to be able to have the discussion. To kill the beast, you must first say its name. And we need to talk about it directly, discuss the problem, not going through a reformation like Christianity did, empower the reformists, and crush the literalists. That's what we have to do. Until we do that, this will never stop. And it'll get worse every year because every year we're importing more and more and more of them, usually fighting age men. Under the age of 40, hairy, scary. Fucking winner. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what needs to happen. Write to your MPs. I don't know what we can do about it, but the fucking conversation needs to happen. And is that not a reasonable thing to say? I'm not advocating anything untoward. I'm saying empower the modernist reformists of that religion. Constantly hold them up and vaunt them and say, this is how you can do it. You can be a godly person. Empower the mullahs and the imams. The imam of peace, that Australian bloke, he talks a lot of sense. Empower the people that say it's 2022. We don't need to take this shit literally anymore. You can still be a holy person. Take the example from the Christians and the Jews and get on with it. But the more we cover it up, the more it'll happen. And they're increasing in number because they're fucking talking about what they want to talk about, and we're allowing ourselves to be shackled by it. Anyway, I've got time to do one more, so let's get on to another linked story, and I'll sum up using this one. So this was earlier in the year, in January. We did talk about it once or twice back when it happened. I don't want to talk about the religious stuff now, because this wasn't related to religion, but it was related to the mass movement of fighting age men. Because if you didn't know, and I'm assuming the BBC don't want to mention it, let's see. The family of Aisling Murphy have been robbed of their most precious gift. I need to wet my whistle, talked a lot, hang on. A 23-year-old teacher was killed on the banks of the Grand Canal outside Tullamore. A depraved act of violence united the country in grief. Arrested a man in his 30s. Primary school teacher was attacked while exercising. Fucking shocking. Still no mention of where the man's from or what he looks like. No, it's all sad. Yeah, it's very sad. Darkness is deep. Blah, blah. Yes, we grieve. Oh, yeah, joy and love and laughter. Oh, really? Yeah, joy and love and joy. Wonderful privilege. Fucking pipe it. Poke it up your fucking dirt box, my lord. I've got no interest at all in sitting here and listening to you spew out the same shit. Meaningless platitudes. Love and joy and love and happiness and pleasure. Fuck off. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. I hate hand-wringing lefty fucking do-gooders. Young women getting fucking butchered and every sentence out the mouth. Love and joy and compassion and yeah. Oh, she was a charity worker and she loved it when big hairy ass men from the third world moved over here. She loved it. And that gay bloke got his head lopped off. He was compassionate and joy and compassion and love. Some cunt's just been fucking had the crust lopped off. And you keep talking about love. What about talking about getting the cunts that do it and putting them in a fucking testicle vice in the shed before dousing the shed in gasoline and setting the cunt on fire? What about talking about something like that, which is what is in the hearts of the people that know her? People that know someone who gets brutally and callously murdered don't walk skipping through the streets afterwards going, what a privilege, love and joy. No, they have this thing called cold fury and vengeance and rage and hatred. And that's what they do. Jesus didn't do that because Jesus, if you believe the stories, was a special kind of guy. He said, oh, slap me on my left cheek, I'll offer up my right. Well, you know what I do when somebody slaps me on the left cheek? I headbutt the cunt. And then I give them a few digs while they're going down, and then I'll boot them in the face 5 or 6 times. And then when I'm certain that they're not going to get up and slap me again, being a civilized gentleman, they'll just move down to the body for a little bit. That's what I do. Because religion's for the religious. Let them forgive their enemies. I've got no interest in forgiving my enemies. I want to defeat them. And I want to ensure that my enemies don't visit their death and destruction upon the people that I care about. If you're a religious twat and you want to talk about love and peace and joy and happiness when somebody you love gets fucking murdered, you crack on and do it, fella. But you don't have the right to speak for me because I'm a freeborn man and I promote freedom. And I reserve the right to have a rage boner, a galloping fucking rage boner when I read about some foreign bloke moving to Ireland thanks to the lax policies of the state and then taking the life of a young woman who had a whole fucking life to live. I reserve the right to get very, very angry, you fucking wet left-wing cunt, and you don't have the right to tell me otherwise, right? You can smoke my fucking pole, son, with all your talk of love and joy and happiness. Anyway, this is just fucking shit, this story. All they're talking about is love and joy and soulmate and emotion. Let's get to the brass tacks if we can get there. Let's have a look. Killed on the banks of the Grand Isle, arrested a man in his 30s. Here we are. Let's have a look. Still no mention of the man. No mention of his name. 23-year-old was attacked. No mention of the man or where he comes from. The suspect. No. They don't want to tell you. Well, what did I say last time? I was right. I'm always right. I said this about the New York Brooklyn shooting. If they don't tell you what he looks like, you know what he looks like. They only tell you what he looks like if he's a pasty blue-eyed ginger twat or he looks something like me. Then they'll tell you what he fucking looks like. If they don't tell you his name and they don't tell you what he looks like, you can guarantee that he's not called fucking Seamus McGinnity. Right? Easy. He's not called Jerry fucking Adams or Mickey McGuinness or anything that sounds Irish. That's why they haven't told you. So still don't know. You'll just have to take my word for it because the fucking BBC don't want to tell you. Oh, look, more nice, happy-go-lucky pictures. Blah, blah. Oh, yeah. Honour, love, joy, loving it. Yeah, them kids look like they're fucking loving life, don't they? They're over the moon, them poor little bastards. Yeah, so this is bollocks. Bollocks. Well, I'll just have to tell you. You'll just have to take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what, before I rant, let's put a picture of some devastated children up just to get the blood flowing. Yeah, those kids look happy. Fuck their lives up as well. The bloke that did it was a fighting age male that moved to Ireland in his 20s from a fucking Eastern European country. Let's just leave it at that. He wasn't Irish. He wasn't born and raised in Ireland. He wasn't even raised in Ireland. He didn't move to Ireland when he was 10. He didn't move to Ireland as a teenager. He moved to Ireland when he was a fighting age man in his 20s. And he snuffed out a fucking life just like our friends from the last story. So this is related to the last one, isn't it? You have to ask yourself, is this working out for us? Ladies and gentlemen, is it working out for us? Is inviting fighting age men to the shores of the British Isles and Ireland, obviously that is included in the British Isles, aggressive Irish nationalists. I know the difference because there is some chippy. I remember being in a bar in New York having a crack with some Irish blokes, and I said we when I was discussing our culture. I said we don't really care about that shit, do we? And one of them was like, "Well, you know, Ireland's not the same as fucking Britain." And I was like, "No shit." I did spend it. I was fortunate enough to spend 6 months in South Armagh. I bet he didn't know the fucking date of the plantation of Ulster. I'm aware chippy Irish people know all about the long, complex history of the Republic of Ireland. But what I'm getting at is the British Isles or the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, whatever you want to use. In fact, fuck it. Let's not just talk about the British Isles now. Let's talk about the entire continent of Western Europe. Western Europe. Is it working out for Western Europe and the working class of Western Europe to constantly invite hundreds of thousands of fighting age men? Because that's what's happening. We're not talking about this. It's not even about immigration. They keep saying it's about immigration. It's not about immigration. Because if we were only allowing immigrants in that were women and kids, actual women, not women in the modern sense, yeah? And by that, I mean women with a fucking 10-inch clitoris that squirts baby gravy out the end of it, yeah? Because a woman's just impregnated 2 fucking birds in an all-female prison in America. If nobody heard about that one, fucking Google it. I shit you not. In fact, should we find it? I'll just put that up while I rant. Impregnates 2 inmates. There we go. Inmate impregnates 2 inmates. There we go. So you can always find humour no matter how grim the story, because the world's gone that fucking mad. You just look around. We found love in a hopeless place. Meet the trans prisoner, 27, convicted of killing her foster father and the female double murderer she impregnated, who began their forbidden relationship. Transgender prisoner, 27, is fucking the shit out of all the girls in the ladies' prison. Nice one. There you go. There you go. Look. Fucking hell. Demi, I'll tell you what. I wouldn't want to fucking backhand her off Demi. Demi could fight me and me fucking granddad. Demi's got fucking forearms like Popeye. I would definitely not want to get into a ruck with Demi. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, Demi's shafting everyone in jail. I'll tell you what, you're laughing. It must be better being a transgender woman in a women's prison than it is being a naffy bird in Afghanistan. Because there was a naffy bird in Afghanistan who was fucking hideous. Hideous. She had a claw. One of her hands was shrunk like Jeremy Beadle. On the one hand, she was extremely unattractive. But on the other hand, she was very, very appealing. So all the lads were still, give it 6 months, someone was shagging her. I remember one of the VMs was plugging her. He told me it's good because she's got a tiny hand. So when she's wanking me off, it feels like I've got a big cock. So I look down and it's like, yeah, look at that pulsating, throbbing member. When really he was only packing like a 0.5er. So that was why I liked shagging her apparently. But the point I'm getting at is it must be mint being in a fucking all women's prison if you're a transgender bloke, female, whatever. I get confused. Because Demetrius is loving life now. Just constant pussy. Demetrius is an absolute pussy slayer. Again, welcome to, the world's gone mad, hasn't it? Like I said, the world's gone mad. In 10 years' time, when everybody else wakes up, people like me are going to be looked upon as be some visionary prophet, aren't I? And I'm not. I'm just like you and 95% of the population. I just happen to do it on YouTube. But this is what I keep saying about why you've got to keep talking about it, because we're now living in a clown world society where the 3% of the world that are woke and insane are making all the rules. And all this shit is vehemently disagreed with by almost everybody. It's disagreed with by everybody in the centre, everybody centre right, everybody centre left, and everybody far right. Basically, it's disagreed with by 90% of the political spectrum. And yet, despite that, the world we've got is Demetrius is in the women's prison, and we keep importing random fighting age foreign men that kill women and kids. So it's fucking mental. And you just have to say, but yeah, to sum up, ask yourselves that question. Is it working? Is it working, ladies and gents? Is it working? Is importing fighting age men and vetting them terribly working for Ireland or England or Scotland or Wales or France or Italy or Spain or Germany or anywhere at all, or Norway or Sweden, fucking Sweden, which now looks like Beirut? Answers on a postcard, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know. Yeah, she puts she does her eyebrows on wearing boxing gloves. She uses a fucking marker pen and a pair of boxing gloves. In fact, no, she uses a dog shit, like a frozen dog turd in a boxing glove. You go, girlfriend. Right, that'll do for one day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow, and we can get angry together, you lucky bastards. As usual, thanks for watching. Like it and share it and all that bollocks if you can be asked. Buy me a pint if you're not a tight bastard. And I'll see you all tomorrow. All right? Cheers. See you later.